You want to listen to somebody who has what you want and has been where you are. There are tons of people, myself included, that started off in a lower middle class family. And there are tons of people that I know that started off poor. One of my mentors growing up was a guy named Dexter Yeager, who was in the Amway business. He lived in an alley on Rome, New York, in a trailer. And I had another fellow who lived in a double wide. He lived in a double wide trailer. That was how he grew up. They didn't go to college. I didn't go to college. I virtually flunked out of high school. I didn't have any connections. I didn't have any funding. All I had was a dream. And I was willing to work 7 days a week. I was willing to do whatever it took and manifest my dreams. Arnold Schwarzenegger came from poverty. He didn't come to America with any money. You hear his story. He was sleeping in the back of a gym on the floor when he was starting off. So there are tons of people that started off flat broke, that had nothing, no education. Schwarzenegger didn't even speak English very well. He still doesn't speak English very well, and achieved massive success. There are tons of immigrants who come to this country that are incredibly hardworking, that don't speak our language, that don't have college educations, that have no money. They come over and they work 7 days a week. A lot of them, I grew up, I worked in a restaurant, and there was a Greek guy who owned the restaurant. It was a very successful restaurant. And I asked him, I said, how did you become successful? He says, my family left Greece and came to America. They worked in restaurants and they slept in the back. They saved up enough money to bring the rest of the family. We all slept in the back of the restaurant and we all worked in the restaurant 7 days a week. Then we saved up enough money and we bought our own restaurant, and we all slept in the back and we had a little apartment above the restaurant. And we saved up our money and we worked 7 days a week. Then we bought a house and we bought a bigger restaurant. Now we're rich. And this is the American dream, right? Entrepreneurship, opportunity. But this is what people born in America don't get. They don't understand delayed gratification. They ain't willing to put the work in first. They want to plant the seed today and they want to get the harvest tomorrow. That's not how it works. You plant a seed for an apple tree, you ain't getting a harvest for 10 years. You know, there's a time period, and most people aren't willing to put forth the effort. When you look at Arnold as an example, or guys who want to build up their body, you can understand it. Okay, you look in the mirror, you're disgusted, you want to build up your body, you go into the gym, you drink your protein shake, you go to the gym, you pump the iron, then you come home and you look in the mirror. Oh, guess what? Your body didn't change. Do you quit? No, you don't expect it to change in one day. And you don't expect it to change in a week. And nor do you expect it to change in a month. But you continue to go into that gym every single day and watch your diet and take your protein and your supplements. And 6 months from now, I'm going to see some changes. You're not going to get to your goal in 6 months, but you're willing to pay the price for success. And here's the thing. People always say, well, I don't know if I'm willing to pay the price for success. Let me tell you something. You pay a price whether you succeed or fail. You either pay the price for success or you pay a much bigger price for failure. And then people always say, but Kevin, if I do this, it's going to take 3 years before I start seeing any results. Well, guess what? If you don't do it 3 years from now, you're not going to see any results. 3 years are going to pass anyway. One guy told me, he says, Kevin, do you know how old I'll be in 5 years? I go, well, if you don't do this, how old are you going to be in 5 years? You're going to be the same age, except it's broker,
Yeah, the story with the restaurant there, and same with Arnold, right? It's that immigrant edge. They come from something that isn't America. They don't have the hope, the opportunity, and they're grateful just for that chance. And I think sometimes when we're from here, when we're surrounded with this comfort, this ease, everything that we have access to, that gratitude can be lacking. Kevin, what role does gratitude specifically play in attracting more money, wealth, and success?
Gratitude and appreciation is a mentality that has to be added. It's one of the 25 ingredients, but you can't live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in gratitude and appreciation for where you're at and everything you're in, because then the universe isn't going to give you anything different. because you're saying everything's fine. So it's part of the formula and it's one of the ingredients, but you have to go through those cycles. There was a great scene in Rocky where he's fighting Clubber Lang, and he had reached the top, and he got complacent, he didn't have any drive anymore, and he got beat up, and then he's going to fight him the second time, and he's in the corner, and Clubber Lang is beating him and beating him and beating him and just beating the crap out of Rocky. And they're in the corner going, "What is he doing? What is he doing?" And the guy says, "He's getting mad." And it was like, you could feel it. Your whole body started to tingle. It's like, yeah, he's getting mad because he needed to get mad. He needed to feel pain. He needed to say, "I am not going to take this anymore." And that's the drive I talked about earlier that then motivated him to come forward. I'll give you one thing that guys make a big mistake. And if there's any guys listening, whether you're trying to get into a relationship, you're in a relationship, or in life, you're trying to go in your job, the big mistake is indecision. Women and other men love men who are decisive. And the challenge guys have is they're afraid to make a bad decision. So let me tell you something. Here's the good news. There are no bad decisions. You can never get it wrong. You're just going to go on a different road. You can't get it wrong. Napoleon, and I won't say it in French because my French is poor, but Napoleon said, audacity, more audacity, always audacity. General George Patton said it best, I think. He said, "A good plan implemented violently today is always better than the best plan implemented tomorrow." Take action now and be decisive. So as an example, I walk into a restaurant, I'm with a gal, I walk right up to the hostess, I raise the volume of my voice a little bit. I go, "Hi, reservations for Trudeau." "Oh, yes, right this way." I'm decisive. I'm confident, because when you are decisive, your level of confidence and self-assurance goes up, and it makes you very attractive. You're not arrogant. You're not condescending. You're respectful and very nice. You can be a gentleman. You can be as sweet as you want, but it's confidence and decisiveness. She takes me to the table, and it's like right next to the door of the kitchen or something. And I say, "Excuse me, can I have that table over there?" Again, I say it with a smile. I'm respectful, but I'm decisive. And, "Oh, yes, sir." And they take me over. I get the menu. I open. I quickly decide what I want. I shut the menu, or the waitress comes over. So, "Would you like some water?" "Yes, I'd like bottled water, still, no lemons, no limes, no ice, please." And I say it with a smile. And the woman's sitting here going, "This guy knows exactly what he wants in life." And she starts getting cozy to me, or that coming over, It happens all the time because you're making decisions, you're decisive, you have a level of confidence without being arrogant, without being controlling, while being completely respectful and completely nice. And this makes you very attractive to, whether it's women or, even in a business scenario, other men find you very attractive too, because you have that leadership quality, because you raised your game.